All right, so here we are with tips for corporate headshots. Coordinate the group outfits. That's going to be one of the main things I'm going to say if you're going to do a group corporate set. Group portrait set. So I know this is focused on headshots, but a lot of the times you want the whole group together as well while you're doing those headshots. So I want you to take a look at these colors here. We have kind of the greens and yellows in this range, and the blues and burgundies transferring to the transitioning to the purple. Then we have the blues and the greens, and these are all kind of grouped in similar colors. Now we have the browns over here, but if you look from here to here, now we kind of have the opposites. From the orange to the blue. Now this isn't a color wheel, but it's kind of organized in the way a color wheel might be organized. So if you're going to coordinate the group outfits, either have them wear similar colors or have them wear things that pop, things that complement each other. So for example, blues and oranges or blues and yellows look good together. So pick one theme. So say blues and yellows, that's a good theme. Red and green is a little too Christmassy. So yeah, I'm going to say maybe burgundy and like forest green, that would be okay. Anyways, here we go. Or, like I said, you can have them all match. Now here, this is obviously not a corporate group shot, but it's kind of cute. And, you know, it makes people look more uniform, which can also bring out people's uniqueness. So say there's only one person who has maybe red hair, we showed some red hair in the other picture, then that will stand out more. If you're the only person with green eyes or dark brown eyes, that will show up more, be more prominent if they all match. Here we go. An inside, well-lit place is key for these kind of shots. I like how they have the window, they're in front of the window, and if you notice, they're all kind of in neutral colors, which is nice. Alright, and there we go. Like I said, neutrals are good too. So here we have a group picture just kind of workers casually at the desk, and they're all going for the neutral colors. So if your clients are going to ask for the neutral colors, I'd say go for light tan or go for navy, go for black, gray, anything in that vein. Alright, and once again, get unique. I really like this picture where they're kind of all making a star, they're working together. So like I said, when you're doing the corporate headshots, don't be afraid to have them do some silly poses. And now I'm going to talk about just headshots. Here are some tips on headshots. Have a solid color background. And for the professional headshots, make sure it's pretty much just the face and shoulders. Eyes should be in the center of the photo, about right smack dab in the middle, just like this one. There's a really complimentary background for her. This kind of dark baby pink looks really nice on her. So just go with a basic, not too dark, not too light, kind of a medium color. Like that medium blue is really popular. Eyes centered, like I said, and make sure the person is symmetrical. Alright, here's another example. And the man is kind of in a pose. More so, he's looking down. This looks good with the black background because he's wearing a lighter gray sweater, so that kind of pops. Here's another example where they used shading, kind of shadows to their advantage, where part of his face is shaded, so this is going to definitely be a lot less exposed. That's a nice way to do it as well. Alright, and then lastly, I want to say good places to do headshot number one for corporate and studio headshots would be obviously inside a studio. If you don't have that, go for against a colored wall or tapestry, or also one of my favorites, especially for musicians for some reason. I've seen a lot of my musician friends go to your local art museum for headshots near the pillars. And that's also, if you have pillars, that's also a really nice professional background. Usually there's a lot of marble, a lot of neutrals, so that's another option. And that is just kind of a general outline of corporate and group headshots and individual headshots. Thank you for coming to this lecture. Alright, so now we have tips for child portraits. And I have to say that child portraits are one of my favorites. I think I say that a lot about photography though, because photography is one of my favorites. And candid child portraits are the absolute best in my opinion. Then again, I'm biased. Alright. First things first, I'm going to say put them in a setting that is theirs, especially if they're younger. So say, I don't know, a couch in their home is theirs, or being in the grass in the park is their space. Put them in their space so that they can be them. And kids could be even more shy than adults because, I mean, they haven't been socializing with people as long as we have. So I need you to find somewhere that is theirs. So for example, this kind of older kid looks like he's pretty at home in this building. For some reason, I'm imagining that it's a science building and that he just loves science. Kind of reminds me of the science building at my college. So put them somewhere that's theirs, like I said. And I think this picture does a nice job of showing that. Then again, it might just be my imagination. Let them explore, let them be kids. Let them run around and touch things. Now, developmentally, as a teacher, I can tell you that kids are going to need to move around a lot. And they're going to need to be doing different things. So say you're planning even a half hour or 1 hour photo shoot with this kid. Expect them to be doing different things. Don't try and plan too much around them. And my education background has taught me that it should be about their attention span, should be about their age plus 5 minutes. So if, say for example, I'm 22. Add 5 minutes to that, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So they say that my attention span is approximately 27 minutes in length, and then after that, you check out for a little bit, and then you come back. So imagine you have a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old. You know, the max they're going to spend doing something is probably 10 minutes, to be honest. So don't plan too much, you know, plan several activities, but don't expect them to necessarily go for that activity. Let them go on their own. All right. Candid is best. And that's another thing I was going for. So say they always stare out the window, like this little girl. Then let them stare out the window and run over to the other side of the house and capture that. I really like this one. This one has a lot of character. I like the old look of the house in the window, and it just looks very introspective for her, I think. And here we go. We already talked about this. Attract their attention to multiple things every few minutes. Keep them busy. And here's a new idea, is to involve their parents. So ask their parents to do something. Say maybe they're making cookies. The parents are making cookies. Have the kid get involved and take pictures of that. You know, it doesn't have to be always straight up professional. Maybe you want to capture what their home life is like. And just like adults, you want to make them comfortable with you first. So, like I said, ask them about their day, ask them about their interests way before you get started, and that will make your photo shoot go very smoothly if it's somebody who is choosing to pay for you to do a set time of a photo shoot. And if not, if they're family, then you can just totally pretty much skip this step because they already know you, they love you, and it'll be super easy to take pictures of them. I see this kid in the Nirvana shirt. I'm kind of imagining that he's looking up at something, like somebody is holding something, and he's definitely curious. I like the curious looks that kids give sometimes. I teach quite young kids in my day job. And let them make their own poses. I mean, this is definitely come up by a kid to take two eggs, put them in front of her eyes, but I also think it kind of looks like a studio picture based on the white background. It almost looks like it was taken in a photography studio. And here's another idea: involve a pet. Involve a pet in family portraits or in portraits with kids. It'll make them more comfortable. It'll add another interesting element to the child's portrait. Thank you for listening to our lecture number 9. Hello, Creative Online School, and welcome to lecture number 11, Tips for Wedding and Event Portraits. Number 1, I'm going to say ask what the group wants. Ask what the bride and the groom wants, and that's the most important thing, honestly. I really like this picture. It's kind of casual. It looks like it's at the reception, and a lot of people might want these kind of good time vibe pictures. And there's also the more traditional style, so make sure you definitely ask what the bride and groom or the person who's asking for the pictures, because a lot of the times I have a lot of really cool ideas that I want to use, but sometimes it's not right for the person, so always ask what they want. But personally, I think for weddings, we're going to talk about weddings first, that the backs of dresses is an absolute must-have. It's just so cute. I love this out in the woods. It is just very cute. It reminds me of friendship and bonding. So I think that this is a really nice, easy pose for all of the bridesmaids, maid of honor, the bride, and all of the ladies. Another thing that you shouldn't forget is if you're doing engagement photos, don't forget the rings. I really like how they have the rings on top of this Gerbera daisy. I've also seen them even inside a wine glass or on top of the cake. There's all sorts of things you can do with it inside of a book, but there's a lot of different backgrounds where you can photograph the new and shiny rings, before they've been washing dishes for 10, 20, who knows how many years. So photograph the rings, especially, like I said, engagement photos. I'm doing engagement photos for my best friend soon. I think I mentioned that in an earlier lecture. I'm so excited. All right, and here is a good time for backlighting. It kind of looks like a movie scene, so you want the bride and the groom to be like the profile. So you're going to have just their profiles, and then the sun is going to be in the background. Now this works best when the sun is just coming up or when the sun is coming down, when that perfect lighting is. And it kind of reminds me of that one movie scene in Pride and Prejudice, where the sun is coming up and they're kissing, and it just kind of peaks right where their faces are, and it's absolutely beautiful. Shoes for a wedding shoot are a staple as well. It's common for people to ask for you to take pictures of their shoes. And you can also make a leading line. We talked about leading lines in the other lecture with the shoes so that your eyes kind of diagonally follow something, and that's really nice. All right. Now this goes for any kind of group activity that is being photoshopped. Oh, what am I saying? That is being photographed. That is candid group shots. All right, this one's a nice example. So they have their drinks. There's a stump. It's just kind of a backyard lazy summer get together. So I really like the angle that the photographer took from here. It looks like they're kind of squatting down. The angle is that the camera is pointing up, and it's quite flattering. All right. Color coordinated and with props. So any kind of event you're doing, I would always recommend having color coordinated props. So I think we had a genius photographer here that decided to help out with this one. You see all the ladies have baby pink ears, and they have baby pink dresses, baby pink shoes, except for one or two of them, and then the balloons, and that really brings together the composition of the photo. I think that is super helpful to have props, especially when you have events. If you're doing a little kid event, have birthday party hats that all match, have them all put them on, or do something silly with them. Those silly blower kazoo things that make a lot of noise. glitter, streamers, anything that you want to do, but one solid color, and using a color consistently throughout your photo can add that extra something. Birthday gear and action. So I was just talking about the props. Here's some younger kids. So balloons, just give them, give them something to do, especially with the littles. Give them something to do. Today I just photographed a birthday party and I gave my little cousin some finger paints, and that was just a blast to photograph. So don't be afraid to let them make a mess and just enjoy the event yourself. So if you're doing event photography soon, the best of luck. Thank you for coming to Lecture 11. Hi there, and welcome to Lecture 12. This is tips for indoor portraits. So inside, sometimes it's hard to give that non-cluttered look, especially if you don't have an indoor studio. I don't have an indoor studio personally. So I'd like to talk about ways that inside your house you can make it look maybe nicer than it is. Say you have a messy kitchen, don't worry about that. We're going to show you how to hide the messy parts of your house and make it look as quote-unquote aesthetic as it can. So use structures like pillars and windows to your advantage. I'm not sure what kind of room this is in, but it's definitely in a house. And any kind of picture with the subject in front of the window adds a nice element to it. You get the natural lighting, which we talked about in the other sections of this tutorial of portrait photography. So that natural lighting, like we said before, is the best, most flattering lighting that there is. And also it gives a kind of architectural structure to the photo if you use a pillar outside the house. Well, we're talking about indoor, of course. So sometimes there's pillars inside houses and like those windows. All right. So while we're still talking about the windows, shadows and windows. So sometimes shadows can be really nice in portrait photography. I love this picture that I found, and if you notice, half of her face is covered with shadow and the other half isn't. And I think that kind of makes a statement. So if you can manage to get that kind of an effect, depending on the time of day, usually dawn or dusk is, like I said, when you're outside. The same goes for inside, when you get the most effective lighting. Right. Mirrors make it unique. So if you're looking for something different inside your house, I'd recommend going behind the person and kind of having this nice blur like this photographer did, and then you see them in the picture and have the picture be crisp, or even vice versa. And it creates this really introspective element, this introspective indoor kind of feeling. So I think that's a really cool thing to explore while you're photographing inside. You have more control of the light, is mirrors. Another good location to do are stairwells. I know a lot of the times when high school students have homecomings or proms, students go on the stairwell to be photographed, and there's a good reason for that. I mean, we have that kind of architectural structure again inherently, and also another thing we have when we go on stairs for our subjects to take pictures or to be photographed is the leading line. And the leading line, just a reminder, is when you have something diagonal that you kind of gradually follow throughout the photo, and that's very pleasing as well. So if you see the girl on the stairs laughing, it's just a really nice area. Okay, find a place with lots of lights. So indoor photography isn't necessarily just inside your home. Now, we already talked about some ways to make inside your home photos a little more interesting, but find somewhere filled with lights. Now, I'm not sure where this is, but it has a lot of interesting little lights and things in the background, and that also makes for a very nice photo. Surround yourself. Here's an interesting, almost cluttered looking photo, but I decided to show this photo to you guys because I really liked it. So when you're doing indoor photos, why not surround your subject with things that they like? So say you have a room, but it's a super well-rounded themed room. So this room's theme is obviously lots and lots of lamps, lights, and bulbs. So I like this theme, and it kind of adds yeah, like I said, it's a theme and it goes throughout. It's almost like how we had the pink cat ears with the pink balloons and the pink shoes. It's one solid element throughout the photo. And so that makes it look not so cluttered. So surround your subject with the same theme. All right. And as far as indoor photography, have them pick up a houseplant. I mean, hide behind something inside your house. A simple fern can make a picture look tropical. So just explore everything that you have. And just remember to leave out any of the unsightly things like iced tea bottles or trash cans. And you guys will be great indoor photographers as well. Thank you for coming to our second to last lecture. Hello, Creative Online School. And we are almost done here with our introduction to portrait photography. Last but not least, we have tips for outdoor portraits. Now, I find myself doing outdoor portraits more than I do any other type of portrait, so I have quite a lot to say in our last 5 minutes about this subject. Oh, find a leading line. Does that sound familiar? All right, so there's lots of leading lines outside, in especially railroad tracks or roads, long and winding roads. That creates a really nice background. It's something for the eye to follow, and then you can put your subject right in the center, and that just looks really nice. It's a nice pose that she has. This is a really nice example. All right, now I would like to show you this one, color wheel opposites. Sound familiar? So this is a nice building. It's kind of a light blue brick building, but what I love the most about it is how this example pops with her hair, and it really brings out her, and I love it. I have lots of examples during this 5-minute one. Okay, let nature come out in front of your subject. So I love how they have these thistle plants in front of him, kind of blurred, and it looks like he belongs in the picture. I mean, if they didn't have the thistle, it might look a little less natural. So definitely involve nature in your pictures. Sunset or sunrise is always the best lighting for taking outdoor photos. And I just love how the sunlight kind of licks her hair. Here, I believe this is a sunrise. Not entirely sure, but it's just the most flattering for your outdoor photos. A traditional outside pose here is this lady laying in the grass, and I've seen this one a lot of seniors like this picture. I think it's nice to find a field of flowers, especially wildflowers, and to go ahead and take a picture of your subject in there, and that kind of adds the theme of nature and flowers. I know I did some photos of Adam with white wildflowers in a field, and he took some of me. I didn't put them in this tutorial, but they're just lovely to have little specks of color, little specks of nature, like we already talked about here. And I like how, I might add, she's holding something. I believe it's a weed or something. So she's being involved in it, you're kind of having her hold something. So have them, touch a leaf or hide behind a leaf. Have them interact with nature. That's another thing that I wanted to tell you guys. Traveler, include the horizon. So in outdoor photos, I mean, there's tons of Instagram worthy, I can't believe I just used that word, yes, Instagram worthy photographers out there who just go ahead and look at some travel photos and get inspired by the horizon. Now, I'm not sure if this is really considered a portrait photo or not. You can't really see her face, but I definitely think you could see her personality. So go for more of a panoramic effect where you get that nice horizontal line when you're going outside, especially if it's something as scenic as mountains or water. So I really like this one. You can go for that if you're wanting to make more of a statement as far as what the outdoors looks like. Okay. Embrace the elements. I love how you can see the little specks of snow. This looks like a nice January run to me. It looks like she decided to take a break in the sun and the snow. And so definitely try and capture the elements like falling leaves and falling snow. It's very nice. And last but not least, I want to say thank you so much for watching. For more, be sure to visit creativeonlineschool.com. Ooh, I accidentally have a typo there. creativeonlineschool.com for more. Better fix that before we upload it. All photos are the property of Aaliyah Fitzwater and Unsplash. Yes, so one more time, that is creativeonlineschool.com, and thank you so much for coming here to watch our Creative Online School tutorial. We're very excited to be expanding more and more in the web areas and as well as the photography. So thank you again, and see you next time.